There we go. All right. Good morning. Slight technical difficulty here this morning, minor compared to what we dealt with some days. But good morning, everyone. Welcome to Ask the Agronomist. Lance Tarchioni, technical agronomist, back with you today. Producer Jennifer is here helping me because, as you know, I need lots of help. So happy to be back with you. Feeling a little better than I was 2 weeks ago. I was coughing and hacking. Still a little froggy here, and still have a little cough, but hopefully won't be quite as distracting as it was now this morning. Jennifer's coughing, so it won't be quite as distracting as it was a couple weeks ago. So coming off of a really exciting meeting for a tech geek like me last week, we had our annual what we call Ag Tech. And unfortunately, it's all virtual now, but it was still a very good meeting. Ag Tech is when we get all of our we get technical updates for all the agronomy and TD group across all of North America. So all the U.S. and Canada taking part in this. We got updates on all the pipeline projects, and updates from breeding, updates from manufacturing, updates from all the different technical projects like short corn and HT4 and new herbicide products coming. And so I'm going to share some brief. It was a 3-day webinar. So don't worry, I'm not going to give you 3 days worth of update from Ag Tech, but wanted to touch on that. And just a reminder, we love your questions here on Ask the Agronomist. So please chat in your questions. And we had a little bit of feedback from a viewer 2 weeks ago, said that they almost asked a question near the end of the program and decided not to because we only had like 5 minutes left. So don't let that make you think you don't have time to ask your question. You send us questions after the broadcast if you want, and we'll use them on the following episodes. So always greatly prefer to have your questions versus me just standing up here making up things to talk to you about. So with that, we'll touch a little bit on several of the projects that things that I'm very excited about from a pipeline perspective. As an old Monsanto guy, I'm kind of used to talking about our biotech pipeline. That's kind of always been our focus is the breeding and the traits side of things. Since becoming part of Bayer 3 years ago, it's really nice to have a pipeline that includes not only genetics and breeding and traits, but also new herbicides, new fungicides, new insecticides. Our digital platform within climate is also part of our pipeline. So we had updates on all those projects, and from short corn to Smart Stacks Pro to a new technology we learned about called VT4 Pro, to a new corn herbicide, a new water hemp site of action for water hemp that we're very excited to bring in corn and soybeans over the next coming years. HT4 and soybeans, which is the 5-way trait stack that will bring dicamba, 2,4-D, Liberty, Roundup, and APPD resistance into one soybean. Very, very excited about that. Wish we had that now, but it'll be a few years. But very excited about the future of that technology. The things we're working on in climate are pretty cool. Trying to develop tools that can help predict, should we be using a fungicide in a situation, develop tools that can help recommend hybrids by field, can recommend, populations by hybrid by field. And that also reminds me of a good conversation I've had with a customer over the last few weeks about, I've got all this data. I've been yield data on my farm for 10 years, 15 years for some of you. And I'm a little bit frustrated that it just doesn't feel like I'm able to do as much with that data as I wish I could. It doesn't make sense to me as much as I wish it did. With climate, we've actually got millions of acres of farmer data in climate. What are you guys doing with that information? What are you learning from that? Are you using that in a way that can benefit me as a farmer? and so that's something else that we spent some time talking about at Ag Tech, and future developments and things that we're trying to work on and learn, and there's a very different a lot of wide ranging views amongst farmers. Some farmers are like, hey, that's my data. I'm very uncomfortable with you even having it. I don't think I even want to give it to you because I don't trust what you're going to do with it. And then on the other end of the spectrum is, hey, you've got all that data. Why aren't you mining that data to learn from it so that you can help everybody because of the things that you can learn from that data? And and those two viewpoints are somewhat diametrically opposed. And so we're trying to live somewhere in the middle there, where we do have our data privacy policy gives us the ability to use aggregated data. We can't share anyone's individual data, but we are able to look at the data that's in the system and try to see what knowledge we can glean from looking at that aggregated data. The challenge lies in this. Maybe you put the hybrid information in when you planted, maybe you didn't. Maybe you put the correct hybrid name in when you planted, maybe you didn't. Maybe you're mapping every application you make on the field, maybe you're not. Maybe you mapped the fact that you sprayed fungicide, and maybe you were able to get your as applied maps in, but maybe you called it Delaro and somebody else called it fungicide and somebody else called it whatever. So a lot of that information that goes in, it gets difficult to understand it on the backside. We really don't have access to any of your soil data that you've collected. So the soil information that we have access to is publicly available information coming from Sergo. And so that Sergo soil data is better than nothing, but it's not incredibly accurate. In some cases, some fields it's closer than others. We have no idea what sort of management you've done in your field. So, have you installed tile? Have you not? What sort of tile system did you put in? Where are those tile lines? We don't have access to any of that information. So it's difficult in a lot of cases to know